Mr. Kosarev, first of all, I would like to tell me about the incident you had about the anti-missile rockets strike on your convoy in Syria, which resulted your injury.
Yes, we had a convoy. We had about 17 Russian journalists with us at the moment, and we went to a territory that was freed by the Syrian army a couple of days before this. It's the town of Al-Dagmashliya. And when we arrived at that point, we didn't realize that only 2.5 kilometers away from the opposite mountain, that place was still under international terrorist groups. As we found out later, it was Jabhat al-Nusra and also Syrian versions of Al-Qaeda, as well as dozens of other international terrorist groups there. As soon as we arrived, at one point we needed to change from our bus to pickup trucks because we were going up the mountain, and the bus just wasn't able to do that. So I guess when we were changing the bus to pickup trucks, that's when they noticed us. And when we started moving, that's when a rocket attack began. The first rocket landed right into the mountain, not into our cars. And so as soon as that happened, we went for cover. And we were in a hideout for a few minutes. Then we decided to move on. We had 3 cars with 3 pickup trucks with us at that point, and the first 2 went up and went behind the hill, and the anti-tank missile rocket hit our car into the engine. The car was set on fire. We had 3 journalists in the back, and I was sitting right next to the driver, and I don't know how, but I had a hunch something was going to happen. So I was filming the whole thing on my telephone at that time. So you've probably seen the footage. And as soon as they hit our car, we went into hiding. We were injured. A couple of my colleagues received shrapnel wounds into their bodies. I received an acoustic trauma, a head concussion, but we were all saved by our bulletproof vests and our helmets. Thank God we're all wearing those. Right now, if you look at them, there are shrapnel marks in the helmet, shrapnel marks in the bulletproof vest. So we went into hiding, and the Syrian army gave us some first aid, and we were able to. We had to hide for about 2 or 3 hours before it was safe for us to get out, because rocket attacks continued. We would go from place to place, and the area that we went through was also mined, so they had to demine it as we went along. So it was quite an ordeal until we finally got out of that place, went to the back of the mountain, met the rest of our crew, and went to a safe place that took us to a Russian army hospital on the Khmeimim air base, where we got the first aid, we got the treatment, and then they sent us to Moscow. And 5 days later, I'm out of the hospital in Moscow. So now I'm home in Moscow. Good to be here.
Do you think that the attack was deliberate?
Well, we were in a plain view to this side that was shooting against us, and we later saw the video from the opposite side that they were shooting, how they were shooting at us as well. We were all clearly marked as journalists in according with the Geneva Convention. We were wearing blue bulletproof vests, blue helmets. It said the word press was plastered all over us, and we were clearly seen as members of the press. But I guess Geneva Conventions are followed only by law-abiding parties, but not international terrorist groups. At one point, the people that were taking us out from under the bullets, they said, "Please take off your helmets at least, because they're very visible and they're targets for the terrorists." So, at one point we had to do that, but when we were already in the back of the truck, going to a safe location.
Mm-hmm. Who controls this area?
Well, like I said, there are dozens of various international terrorist groups, and namely in that point of northern Latakia, as I understand, there are various Turkic groups. There is Jabhat al-Nusra. There's a version of Al-Qaeda, and there are, as I understand, also some units of the Free Syrian Army, so-called opposition. But in regards to who shot us exactly, well, that remains a secret. But we know what groups were there. Actually, it's not that far away from the place where a Russian airplane, military fighter jets, was shot down. And from what we saw in the footage later, there is a commander, militant commander. He was given interviews around in Turkish language. Interviewed by Fox, CNN, and what have you. So, it's up to an individual to study, the evidence that was there and to determine who shot at us exactly. But there is no doubt that it was international terrorist groups.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a few things about your experience as a correspondent in the area?
Yes, well, our task there was to cover everything that has to do with the Russian air base and with their sorties and how they're fighting against international terrorism in the area. We also visited different cities like Homs, like Hama, like Tartus, all in that area, and were able to meet with the local people. We saw various rallies where people would rally for the government of Syria, official government of Syria, for President Assad, for unity with, for saying thank you for help from Russia. And at one point, went to a university in in the city of Homs, the capital of the province of Homs, and I swear there were so many students coming up to me, trying to hug me and kiss me, take a selfie, and saying thank you for Russia. Please tell Russian pilots that we support what they're doing. So it was in general a very good experience to notice that whatever we were doing there had some kind of an impact on the local population. But didn't see many journalists from the international press pool, if you will, a lot of Russian journalists there.
Mm-hmm. After the shooting down of the Russian fighter jet by Turkish Air Force, do you think that the state of Syria conflict will change?
Well, the state of the Syrian conflict has changed quite a lot since Russia began its air campaign in Syria. And a lot of Syrian army has been able to free up quite a lot of territory since Russian strikes began. But in terms of what's happening right now with the downed Russian jet, I know for a fact that after it happened, that area was heavily bombed by Russian Air Force again, and they're pushing the terrorists out of there at the moment. And there is only a few kilometers of the border with Turkey that's left to be taken under control in the area of Latakia, and this is what they're trying to do right now. Ναι, εγώ μεγάλωσα στην Κύπρο, στην Λάρνακα, και οι γονείς μου είναι και οι δύο Κύπροι, έμενα εκεί από 89 μέχρι 98 πριν έφυγα στην Αμερική, και τώρα μένω στην Μόσχα. Τι να σας πω, είμαι πάρα πολύ χαρούμενος ότι έχω σπίτι και στην Κύπρο, έχω σπίτι και στην Μόσχα, και όποτε μπορώ έρχομαι στην νησί και να δω τους γονείς μου, τους φίλους μου, και είμαι πάρα πολύ περήφανος που my childhood,
τη παιδική ηλικία.
Τη δική μου ηλικία ήταν στην Κύπρο. Είμαι πάρα πολύ χαρούμενος και περήφανος.
Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ, Γιώργο.